Okay, it is time for our three pitchers. The big pitch competition that you are all playing an important role in because you get a vote. You, as the audience, count as one jury member. Come on in, grab a seat. We're about to get started again with our pitchers. Good to see all of you. I hope you have you've been having a good day so far. So the award for the pitchers, and we're going to hear from three different startups that are all presenting their ideas for innovation, specifically in the energy sector. The award for them is a 5,000 euro prize, which they can use to further advance their startup. And that actually can make a substantive difference. I was just asking, like 5,000 euros, does that tip the scale for you? And they are very excited and very motivated to present their pitch in the best possible way to actually grab that money. So it is sponsored by STUD, the Innovation Quarter, and the Alumni Network of the Energy Transition of TU Delft. Thank you for that. And I am proud to present three amazing jury members that will all take a seat on this stage, who are deeply invested, sometimes in the literal sense of the word, in startups. So, let me introduce them. Jan-Pieter Versluis, Amé Leverink, and Eva Post. Yes. Grab a seat and a handheld. You all have your own microphone to use to ask your questions. And Jan-Pieter, kind of awesome to have you here because you're not only an entrepreneur, but you're also the founder of this day.
Yes.
You invented this day.
Yes, correct.
How did that happen?
So it was about 15 years ago, maybe even longer
Yeah,
by
this
now.
is the 14th edition, so it must be
yeah,
right
I guess
around.
so. Yeah. We basically saw kind of a gap between sustainable energy companies, students, and and universities. We wanted to close this gap and bring the different sources together.
Yes.
And that's how the Energy Day came to place.
And that is not the only thing you founded. Thank you for coming up with this day, because I think we can all see that it's kind of successful. But you're also the co-founder of Solar Monkey.
Yeah, correct.
So you're in the solar panel industry?
Yes, correct. Yeah, so we make software for solar panel installers and now also for heat pumps and batteries that allows our clients to be super quick and smart in creating a design and calculation for their energy system and to send a quote to their end consumers. And we do this across Europe nowadays. So super excited about that.
Yeah, well, thanks for still coming back to this day. Did it help you in your career? Or did you do it for other people?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it gave lots of inspiration. And for me, that's really the goal of days like this, to make sure that people see what's going on, get lots of inspiration of all the work that others are doing, all the great speakers. And hopefully take something home tonight that you will think about tomorrow that might put you to action.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for being here, Jan-Pieter. Next to you is Eva. Good to have you here. Two women actually who are sitting on a big pile of money, basically, to invest in, it's really true, in startups. So what is it that you do?
I'm the head of the Pre-Seed Fund of Graduate Entrepreneur Fund. We are an early stage venture capital fund founded by alumni from TU Delft and Erasmus University. And maybe one thing that's also nice to mention, the Pre-Seed Fund is actually run by students. So they are sitting here as well. Maybe you can raise your hands.
Yay.
So if you have questions about them running a Pre-Seed Fund as a student, you can ask them later on today.
So you can just sort of sign up to do that for 1 year?
Yeah, you do it for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And is it fun? Yes. Okay, so everybody can recommend this. Very nice. Amé Leverink, you are involved. You have been involved with energy investments for a while now. You started out doing that, working with Eneco, and now you work at the Innovation Quarter Capital. You're the senior investment manager.
I am.
Yeah. Do you have as much power as that? I mean, it sounds kind of powerful.
Yeah, I think the title is probably a little bit more fancy than it is. But the great thing about working for a publicly financed investor rather than a private fund, I think, is that you just have way more responsibility way sooner. And we have a very awesome mandate where we get to invest indeed quite a lot in the energy transition.
Yeah, so you're all very experienced in listening to pitches and really feeling where the interesting parts are, where the potential lies. How will you listen to these pitches that we're going to be hearing today, Amé?
Well, I think first of all, with a lot of respect, because I think it takes a lot, to get out there, start a company. No idea, no business is perfect at the start. And otherwise, I'm very much a generalist by heart, so
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. So these are 5-minute pitches. That is that long or short? How do you see that, Eva?
It's quite long, I think, for a first pitch. So
Yeah.
I think we can get a lot of information out of that.
Yeah, and if it's shorter, that's okay because we get the opportunity to ask some questions. Also, I'd like to open the floor to you. So if you're listening to this and you think, oh, there's something I don't understand or I want to know more about this, please, raise your hand after the pitch. Do you have any word of advice for a good pitch, Jan-Pieter?
Well, hopefully you prepared a great pitch. So my only advice would be to, before you enter the stage, watch your breathing. Take some time, breathe in, breathe out slowly, and start slowly and steadily.
Oh my goodness, we have a very knowledgeable, powerful, but also kind jury. I really appreciate this. Awesome, thank you so much. So we're going to be hearing your questions, and let's start with the first pitcher, which is always the most nerve-wracking. So good luck for you. Victor Meertens of IsoQuick. They make clip-on insulation panels, so you can sort of do it yourself. You can insulate your own house to make it affordable, effective, and inclusive. So that is really nice. Victor, take it away. Victor Meertens! Woo!
Good morning, all. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to talk about IsoQuick. But first, meet Paul. Paul lives in an old apartment in The Hague. In his living room, through the walls comes in the cold. He tries to put on sweaters, but it doesn't help. What he really needs is insulation, but it's complex and way too expensive. He tries to get some professionals in, but how can we convince his landlord to pay for this? Paul is not alone. 400,000 households in the Netherlands in 23 are within energy poverty. And this only keeps rising. Tino expected this to already be 640,000 households already by the end of this year. But why can't we solve this? It needs a tremendous amount of money to get the housing stock of the Netherlands to a label A. But that's not all. Who is going to install all that insulation? Is it you? 1 in 3 specialists can't do this. Vacancies are unfilled. And that's why we need to do something to get Paul the help that he needs. And that's why we invented the IsoQuick do-it-yourself insulation panel. It's a quick and easy solution. You can install the panels directly into your inner wall, say in your living room. It's thin, it has a high insulation value, and it just looks like the wall that you have now in your living room. But what makes us unique then? It's fast. Where you normally need professionals into your house for several days, you can now install it yourself in 4 hours. No tools, no professionals, no equipment, no knowledge. And that at a fraction of the cost. Where it normally takes 1,200 euros per wall, you can now do it for just 300 euros. And we strive for environmental and social impact. We want to create a product that's circular by design, enabling really scaling up that CO2 reduction, and also strive for energy justice. We think that insulation should be accessible for all. We first want to target the 1.5 million social rental homes in the Netherlands with a label C or below. But we also see that our product is scalable and that the problem is not just between the borders of the Netherlands. We think that we can aim for Northwestern Europe, where we can help almost 70 million homes with a label C or below. Our go-to-market strategy is building strong partnerships with organizations already active in renovating the Dutch housing stock. Housing corporations, regional energy initiatives, and cooperating with municipalities. But we also see the value of helping customers directly using our IsoQuick brand. Maybe in the future, selling our panels in the materials and the DIY stores. So far, we did workshops with municipalities. We're currently developing our second prototype and really scaling up our pilot projects. So that's a big success. And in the near future, we hope to scale our manufacturing and really establish that strong partnerships that I was talking about. I'm very proud to announce our team. Alex, Maanveer, Dorothea, and myself, we're quite complementary if it comes to expertise and skills. But we have one thing in common. We're ambitious. We really strive to make an impact to help people like Paul. Do you want to try the do-it-yourself installation panel? Sign up to our pilot project, and maybe we can help you too. Thank you.
Well done, Victor! Yes! Well done, especially as the first one, always the hardest, so you did great. I have so many questions. I want to know a lot about this. I think that seems like a good sign to me. So, Eva, you had a question.
Yeah, thanks for this presentation. Of course, a very important problem, so good that you're working on it. You were very short about the product. Maybe you can tell a little bit more what it's made of and the isolation value and the price per square meter. That makes it easier to compare it to other solutions.
Yeah, great question. Indeed, we skipped it a bit in the pitch. Now it's just made of PEER, so it's the highest insulation value, and that's why we can create a really thin panel so that you don't skip a lot of room in your living room, for instance. But we really strive to go for a bio-based product. So that's just the first prototype that we're using right now. On the top layer, it needs to be as strong as a wall. So we use several materials, and in our second prototype, we're now using the PP material. Bit too much detail, but that's the thinnest and the strongest. So that's for now. In terms of cost, now we can create it for 30 euros per square meter. But we really want to bring this down if we really can scale this solution.
Thank you. Only the isolation value, can you say something about that?
We tested several thickness of the isolation value, and for now, for this prototype, we picked the one with the R value of 1.5. But I think in a later stage, we can decide and put into the market several isolation values, depending on the room. For in your living room, you don't want to lose a lot of space, but maybe in your attic, you can have the thick panels as well.
Right. Yeah, did anybody sign up already via the QR codes? Are people waiting to get their hands on this product, or do you have a question? I think I see a question in the back of the room, so maybe someone can come to you with the microphone.
Well, it's both. I'm signing up. Yeah. But I have a question. Can I take it with me when I move? Or does it stay on the wall?
That's a really good question. From our first traction, from customer feedback, we heard that most of the people don't need to take it with them after they move out of a rental home. But it is something that we took into account in our prototype. So we're thinking of gluing one prototype or using double-sided tape. And in that way, you can take it with you. So that's definitely something that we take into our prototypes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but then, the next person loses that installation quality. So it's better if they buy a new panel for their new home. So the next person who lives there can also use it. Yeah. Final question for the jury.
Also one more question about the specific product, because you mentioned a couple of properties. However, I'm still a bit uncertain, so why is it so much faster than alternatives on the market? And why is it 4 times as cheap as other alternatives? Like the material you're using, is it something that what's your magic sauce that you put onto it, basically?
Yeah, like Johan Cruijff would ask, like, are the others that bad, or are we so good? Oh nee, Louis van Gaal was dat, yeah.
I was hoping for this question. It's not just the materials. So the existing panels that you can buy in the DIY stores are quite complex to attach. So they can't be attached directly into your inner wall. They need plaster, painting, and a lot of people can't do it themselves. So as soon as you want to isolate your living room, you need professionals. And it can take up to 2 days. So a lot of manpower and hours to pay. So for us, just doing it yourself with the same material makes it already way cheaper than really hiring a team into your home.
Yeah, and how is it that you can make it so easy to glue it on? Because the other people could also come up with that idea?
That's true. That's what we are looking into also for the IP. But we made a construction where it clicks and like fits in perfectly together. And in that way, it really looks like a wall. And that way, you don't need plaster or anything to paint it over with. So that's the IP that we created for now.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here and being the first one. Victor Meertens of IsoQuick. Thank you. Thank you. So the second picture is of a startup called Logic Carbon. Logic Carbon, yeah, I see how it's written now. So it's democratizing the access to carbon capture, which seems like a very complex thing to do. And not just democratizing the access to carbon capture, but also to the utilizing and the storage for emitters of all sizes. Where it's an honor to have you here, Shreya Sen. And the clicker. Good luck. I'll stay right here.
So, hello everyone. My name is Shreya Sen. I'm the founder at Logic Carbon Solutions. And yeah, let's talk carbon. And why not? We are investing billions every year in capturing CO2. But here's the truth, right? A lot of the CO2 actually gets stranded. And this is because emitters are not so good at collecting it, moving it, and monetizing it. And now welcome to the least sexy part of climate tech, carbon logistics. So we have been speaking to over 100 companies within the CO2 space. And it's the same problem, it's the same barrier to scale that we see over and over again. So an industrial plant installs a carbon capture unit. Great, fantastic. A great first step towards achieving net zero. But then comes the next hurdle, right? What do you do with the CO2 that you capture? There's no buyer. Where you are based, there's no available pipeline. It's not so easy to move either. And so you bring in third-party logistics to take care of that. Yeah, it's manual, it's costly, and end of the day, these companies, they are not in the carbon business. They produce steel, they produce cement and chemicals. This is not their core business, and they have better things to do than chasing after partners and figuring out how to transport CO2. So essentially, they need someone to take care of that. And so this is what we did. At Logic Carbon, we developed the world's first AI-driven logistics network for CO2. Yes, that's a lot. So imagine it's Google Maps meets Tinder, but for CO2. So essentially what we do is we make carbon visible, first of all. We map who's capturing, who's emitting, who's utilizing, and who's storing. So we look into where the demand and the supply side exists for CO2. And then, of course, just like Tinder, we will find you your perfect match for your CO2. So we look into purity specifications, logistics, timelines to make sure that your CO2 reaches its final destination safely and efficiently. And by this, we want to make carbon markets transparent, accessible, and ready to scale. So for clients who just want to get an overview of the carbon market, they can opt for our basic subscription. They can see CO2 flows, where CO2 demand and supply exists. And this is something that is already generating revenue. Then for our partners that are more interested beyond data in taking action and finding the partners that they need, they can find the partner that best matches their CO2. And for every partnership that we create, just like any marketplace, we charge a small transaction fee. And of course, for clients that need a bit of extra support in engineering, in carbon credit registration, in logistics planning, etc., we offer our value-added services to push their projects to the next level. And of course, everyone knows the carbon market in 2030 is growing, and it is valued at 4.5 billion. But as you see, most of it is around capturing or storing, and we are coming in the middle, so getting the carbon from point A to point B. And so our first starting point or our target segment is biogenic CO2, direct air capture, and capture from maritime vessels, and helping these guys to get their CO2 to their final destination, because these are growing segments. So we started last year at the TU Delft with an idea that we wanted to help decarbonize industries. And since then, we have launched 3 pilots across 3 continents as well. And we have won the Shell Energy Transition Award, and what started initially as a student idea is now helping shape global CO2 infrastructure. So our roadmap, so in 2025, we are already working on pilots and paid pilots as well. In 2026, we want to make our platform live. We want to make it with an interface so that clients themselves can engage with it. And in 2027, we want to go global. We want to make sure that the CO2 can travel even across borders, like FedEx, but for the planet. This is our team, of course, the dream team behind LogiCarbon, and we are a team of engineers, AI nerds, and carbon romantics. And what we do is the part of the energy transition that nobody sees, right? The CO2 and its movement from capture to storage or for use. So partner up with us in moving CO2 and the world further. Thank you.
Wow. Good time management too. Well done. Shreya, that was amazing. Was this really your idea, your personal idea?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. Let's go straight to the questions. Amay.
Thanks, Shreya. I particularly really like that you had more than 100 interviews. That really indicates, you know, you try to make sure you get what the customer actually wants, so keep on doing that. It sounds like a really good idea. I think, I'm not sure if I saw it here or elsewhere, but the 19 million data points, are they already there? Will they be there? How did you get them? How is not someone else going to get all of those?
Yes, that's a fantastic question, actually. So what we work with, of course, is data. And this kind of data is really hard to get your hands on, right? Because companies, they are not so good at recording their emission types, etc. But infrastructure developers, they need this data to make sure they can find out, okay, can these factories work together? Can these collaborate to kind of collect their CO2 and bring down costs? So what we work with is satellite data. We get access via, for example, NASA and Copernicus to these kinds of portals. And then, so it's kind of space-based data that we then supplement with ground-based data as well. And we want to do that globally, of course. And that kind of helps us as well because our product is scalable. It's possible for countries globally.
Yeah, and you already have those data points, or that's the ambition?
No, we already have them.
Yeah, okay, okay, great. Eva also had a question. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Maybe you can explain a little bit more. I get the Google Maps side of things, and you're now working on the Tinder part, I think, right? But maybe you can explain a little bit more, like how does it work from a physical side? Like I understand getting the data
Yes.
and see, but how to actually get it transferred and the admin side of
In
things.
the end, there's actual carbon
How do you
captured
take the
somewhere.
infrastructure into account and stuff like that?
Yes, so I can give you an example of one of the pilot projects we are working on at the moment. So it's a US-based company. They are capturing CO2 on maritime vessels, right? And they are planning on bringing over their CO2 cargo to different ports across Europe. And what we help them is figure out what is the optimal normal off-taker for their CO2, for storage or for utilization. And now CO2, just like Tinder, right? They have different profiles, they have different flavors of CO2, and everyone has a different specification. And there's a lot of coordination that needs to go behind the scenes. So we try to figure out who is the perfect guy to take the CO2 from you, and what is it that you can get back in return. Sometimes it is money, sometimes it is credits, etc. But then we talk with the guys at the port. We figure out how to get your CO2 with the logistics providers, for example, get it to the right place, and AI and software just makes it a lot faster.
Any questions from the audience on this topic? I think you also had a question, Jan-Pieter, so absolutely.
Yes, Shreya, thank you so much. I have a question. So let's say I have a factory and I produce a lot of CO2 and I want to capture it. So what would be my current solution? So without your existence, so how do they currently solve this problem?
Right.
That depends on a lot of things. So it depends, let's say you are a small to medium-sized emitter. Let's say you are a small cement plant, you don't really have access to pipeline, let's say, and you're very ambitious, you're a hard-to-abate sector. There's no other way to do it except capturing CO2. And for small to medium guys, you're not Shell, for example. It's more difficult for you to get access to technology. So we do have a database of different capture providers, let's say, which makes it more accessible for you to compare prices, see what technology is out there and what is fitting to your current factory as well. So looking at that, and then we provide a more of a holistic overview of the value chain. So once you capture the CO2, okay, that's perfect. Everyone's doing that. But then what do you do with it? Because it's a liability. You need to get it off your hands. But is there somebody that can permanently store that CO2? That's something the EU is really promoting, so that you can permanently store it in let's say, I don't know, building materials, or you can sell it to greenhouses, or you can permanently store it, I don't know, in the Porthos project if they have any space. But
So
we
you're
look
unlocking a possibility for companies that before didn't even really have
it or didn't know about it either.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for this great presentation. Shreya Sen with Logic Carbon. Thank you. And then our third and final pitch that will be presenting itself to you is Pythia Energy Intelligence. They assess risks and they make predictions for the energy sector so that they can optimize their energy distribution. A warm welcome for Ties van der Heijden. Good luck.
Hi everyone, I'm Ties, co-founder and technical lead of Pythia Energy Intelligence. When I started studying in Delft, I thought the energy transition was about things. More stuff, building more solar panels, building more wind turbines. We just build more stuff and the problem is solved, right? Well, during my bachelor, master, and eventually even PhD in Delft, I realized the problems we hear today are no longer just about more stuff. The problems we hear today are congestion, imbalance, and eventually decisions. That's why a year ago we started Pythia Energy Intelligence, and let me explain a bit more. Right now, the energy transition is stuck in third gear. The grid wasn't designed for the way we use it today. Think of it like a tree. We used to have big power plants underneath the trunk, producing power, transporting it to the leaves, us, the consumers. But now we're starting to produce power in those leaves, pushing it back through the branches to the other leaves. And the system wasn't made for that. That's where congestion happens, when local parts of the grid get overloaded. But the thing is, even with this bottlenecked system, we still have options. With better information, we can make smarter decisions and squeeze the maximum that we can out of our current infrastructure. Uncertainty in solar radiation is our largest hurdle in applying short-term congestion management, is what Alliander recently told us. So it's not just about more stuff. It's about having better forecasts and knowing how to act on them. Grid operators are not alone in this. Energy companies, they live in this uncertainty every day as well. They're constantly balancing three things: their production, how much are their customers going to consume, and the market prices. And when they get this calculation wrong, they can create an imbalance, a mismatch in supply and demand that can come with really heavy fines. Last Monday, we lost a month of turnover in a single day due to one missed peak in solar radiation. This is the brutal financial reality of uncertainty. Most of today's systems, and people actually, still think deterministically. They ask, what will happen? And they try to predict one single outcome. But there's a problem. In complex systems like the energy system, asking what will happen is the wrong question. You need to ask what could happen and how likely are these different outcomes. That's probabilistic thinking, and it completely changes the way you make decisions. Do you run your system for the average case? Or do you prepare for extremes? When should you take risk and when should you avoid it? That's the core of what Pythia does. We don't just make predictions, we provide a space of possible future outcomes and help to make better decisions within that uncertainty. And we make tools for that. Raycast is our probabilistic irradiance nowcast that uses satellite data and AI. When we make a forecast, we don't just give a value, we give the whole envelope of future possible outcomes. So in the end, it's not a prediction, it's a risk profile. A risk profile to assist grid operators and energy companies to make more informed and more confident decisions. And we don't stop there. With Sphere, we're making a risk-aware energy system design tool so that we can help to build more flexible, less conservative grids that can actually handle the uncertainty of the future. So, if you're thinking about where to make an impact, don't just think about stuff, think about decisions. Because with better decisions is how we tie everything together, and with better decisions is how we can make the energy transition work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You can keep it for the antwoorden. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Ties, for this presentation about your startup. Let me start with you, Amé, with the first question for Ties. Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks for your presentation, Ties. I'm still trying to understand a little bit how it currently works in energy trading. Like, do they have 6 scenarios, 20 scenarios? How short notice is it compared to what you're providing? And why it's so much better? Like, AI is a buzzword, but why is it better?
Sorry, I don't hear you perfectly fine, but I think you're asking how trading works now and what we're offering in the time windows, in the time frames.
Yeah, why it's better, basically.
Why it's better? Well, we focus on short-term trading. So weather agencies like KNMI, they have numerical models. They're really good in modeling the physics and from bottom up. Like, you treat the world as a cell, or you divide it up in cells and calculate what's going to happen. But that's very slow. They take about 3 hours to run normally. So they take 3 hours to incorporate new data into their forecasts. Our systems are based on AI and on satellite. So the moment we have a new picture from the satellite, we immediately have a new forecast for the coming 6 hours, which helps with intraday energy trading. And I don't want to go into the complexities of energy trading and system balancing, but that's where a lot of traders are now losing money.
So is there an element of prediction based on AI as well?
Yes, the whole forecast is built with a train of AI models.
Yeah. Okay. Other questions from the jury? Yeah.
I was wondering, so from your story, I understand that you predict solar energy. Well, basically I have 2 questions. So first of all, where do you get your solar data from? So I know the weather data, but do you also have data about where all solar panels are located, what type of panels, what direction they're facing, etc.? And my second question is around, is that sufficient to properly predict the energy flows, or should you also take wind energy into account or other variable sources?
A solar panel entrepreneur question.
good questions. So the first one is about data availability. For training our models, we use KNMI measurements, for example, and the satellite products themselves have an irradiance estimate, which is spatially distributed. While we focus, with our product Raycast, we focus on irradiance, not solar power production. So that's a big difference there. But to validate our models, we do it with traders and with Alliander, for example, who have a very indirect measurement of solar generation, which is congestion in the net load on their transformer stations. The other question was, well, if you want to predict where the flows goes, yeah, we need more than just solar. We need wind. You need topology. For that, we're not involved. I was involved for a project with Heijden, collaborate with them, but that's not one of our products.
Questions from the audience. Let me look at you. If there is any question, then yes, over here. So maybe you can reach with the microphone. Yes, thank you so much.
I'm not sure if I missed it when you said, but how do you plan on monetizing this? Are you going to sell it to the big energy providers, or are you going to create your own kind of company with it? So what's the monetization plan?
Right, who's your customer? Yeah, awesome.
Our customers at the moment are energy traders, proprietary or asset-backed, and grid operators for the irradiance forecast. When we look at the sphere, so our second proposition, that's more energy hubs and the municipalities at the moment who are running into the problem where DSO says no, you want to create something new in your local area, but the grid operator can't handle it because there's congestion. The grid operator cannot tell you what to do to get rid of that, basically. So that's where our product would come in, like how can you turn that no into a yes? So then the client would be municipalities, for example, but both would work on more like a software as a service subscription-based thing.
For the other pitches, I saw a whole team. Is it for this startup just you so far?
No, one of my co-founders is sitting right over there, Marnix.
Hey, yeah,
Stand
hi.
up, turn a circle. Yeah. That's, one of them is at home at the moment, and we closely collaborate with HKV, which is a consultancy in flood safety. Yeah. And there we have some people who part-time work with us or help us around.
Okay, yeah. Good to know. Okay, yeah, I think we've heard a lot from all of our pitchers. So thank you so much. Ties. Overall, as a jury, what's your general impression, Eva? Can you say something about the quality of these pitches? How did you?
Yeah, I think what stood out is that it's all problems are very relevant that they're trying to solve, right? So I like the energy and the motivation to solve these problems.
Well, you're going to gather together, and then you are also going to receive one vote from the final and fourth jury member, which is embodied by all of you. So you get a vote. You can vote via a QR code, but also in the app. I think maybe that's the best way, right? Use your app to vote. Everybody gets one vote, and all together, all told, that will count as the fourth jury member, and then we will find out who the winner is at the end of the day. So will you, in the end, let's smile and wave one final time for IsoQuick, insulation for everyone. Yes, well done. If you want to go for Google Maps meets Tinder for carbon, basically that was a great slogan. Logic Carbon is your winner. Or like squeeze the grid to the max with Pythia Energy Intelligence. Those were our three amazing pitchers. I thought you all did a great job. Thank you so much for the inspiration. Good luck to the jury. Good luck to the jury. And then now we will have lunch, and we will see each other later again and more today. Thank you so much. Good luck making a decision. Yes, welcome back, everyone, for the final part. Well, minus the drinks afterwards, you know, that's still happening. But of course, everybody's very curious to learn which pitchers are going to win. We had three amazing pitches earlier today, and they've been in suspense ever since. How are you holding up? I see you? Where is everyone? I see you. Yeah, good. And then our third pitcher. Oh, there you are. Hello. Are you nervous? Are you okay? Yay, yay, thumbs up. Okay, great. Well, we're very curious to learn who is the winner, and you have all voted, and thank you for doing that. And of course, we have the jury members. So in their eternal wisdom, they have talked amongst themselves for hours on end, and also taken the opinion of the audience, and we're very curious to learn who will be the winner. So Jan-Pieter Versluis and Amé Leverink of the jury, please. Welcome to the stage. I have the, yes, there you go.
Great, thank you, Sophie.
Yeah, it is working.
Test. Wonderful. Thanks, Sophie. So today we saw 3 challengers to the status quo. 3 challengers, all, in a different category, but all equally ambitious. 3 challengers from different phases, but all diamonds in the rough. We'll just briefly walk you through them, just to remind you. So Victor from IsoQuick, you had a very compelling story. The shortage of manpower combined with a can-do attitude and a great proposal of a quarter of the price with competitors. We do advise you to use this phase to have critical, open conversations with both renters and landlords, to verify what really their current options are and what the barriers are to what they are currently using.
Yes, and then we have Logic Carbon. Shreya, where are you?
In the back.
Yes, all the way in the back. We thought that you had a brilliant presentation. You spoke very clearly and also very confident. We also thought that you had a lot of credibility, showing that you have a board of advisors, and just, very smooth presentation, actually, and also a very clear problem that you're solving. We've also been asked to give one advice. We saw that you're also very ambitious, and that's great, but it also has a downside. We saw a plan of 26 going live to more clients, 27 going global. But also a challenge with marketplaces is that it's very broad. So maybe look at what is the focus point that you want to be in successful first. So in Startup Land, we call that the beachhead market. Sometimes it's better to focus on one particular point and make a big impact than try to achieve everything at once. But overall, great pitch, great presentation. So
Ties from Pythia, well, a great job of convincing us of the clear issue of energy traders to properly forecast solar radiance. And really to understand the problem is half the job. And we really think that this could be a very strong potential product for them. A tip is to lead your story a little bit more with the unique selling point of what you're really doing. Is it the speed? Is it the accuracy? Because it wasn't 100% clear to us how you compare with traditional and other AI challengers on this market.
Okay, so we had 3 great businesses, 3 great pitches. So first of all, amazing job just to be here, to start your business. I mean, it deserves a great deal of respect. And we had a very professional jury, not only ourselves, but also the crowd, like everybody here. And I just asked Amé, is Weekend Millionaires, is that still something? People know that?
Gosh, it's been a while. Yes, I see someone who's very involved in this.
Okay,
so he says yes.
So you can ask for advice to the crowd, and then you can decide, okay, do we follow this advice, yes or no? So what we'd first like to do is to announce what the crowd has advised us. And then, we have to say, well, did we follow that advice? So, first of all...
Well, they had an actual vote, so it could have been 50-50, but the jury reached an anonymous decision. Can you say
we'll let
that
you know.
without
No,
giving...
I can't say that yet.
Gosh.
No, we'll let you know.
First, a round of applause for all the pitches.
So, all of you voted, at least I think all of you voted, and from the crowd it was decided that more than 50% of the votes went to Logic Carbon.
Logic Carbon, congratulations.
So that was the crowd. But obviously, we also had a lot of discussions and conversations about who should be the winner. And we looked at multiple things. So we looked at the quality of the presentation. We looked at the potential impact. We looked at the market potential. And then I'm forgetting one category. we looked at the commercial
Viability.
viability. So taking all of those factors into account, we decided to follow the advice of the crowd and announce Logic Carbon as the winner of the pitch competition 2025.
Logic Carbon, the winner of the startup pitch competition. Congratulations. And the whole team, no, not the whole team, but 2 of them. Congratulations on winning the pitch award. Shreya, can you share some thoughts, a first impression?
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to everyone that came up to me and also said that they really enjoyed the pitch. I enjoyed giving the pitch as well and sharing a little bit, of course, of what we do. And, of course, the 5K is going to make a huge difference for us, for our next milestone as well as a company. We are bootstrapped at the moment, so every amount of money counts for us. And our next milestone is, of course, to take our MVP to the next stage and make our software so that users themselves can register for things and have an access to the transactions at the marketplace and such. And it means a great deal for us. Thank you for the appreciation. And yes, so that's on my part.
Congratulations to Logic Carbon, to Shreya and her team. And of course also to our jury and all of the other pitchers. Would you mind coming forward to take a picture with all 3 pitchers? Because you did an amazing job. And we'd like to take a picture with all of you because you're all, in many ways, of course, a winner because you got some great advice and experience today. So the winner of the startup pitch competition is Logic Carbon. Woohoo! Yay! One time! Yes.